Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the VET S.O.S podcast. Remember, you do not have to drown in the sea of transition. Grab that VET S.O.S Lifeline. We are here to help. And today we are sitting down with Eryck Stamper, Veteran Outreach Coordinator for Mission Beelieve. Y'all don't think that word believe? Y'all got to know about something else about believe that you didn't even think even existed. I didn't know it existed before today. I know Keith didn't know it existed before today, but have you ever considered beekeeping as a therapeutic outlet to help you heal and cope? Well, here it is. It's an amazing organization doing just that. Stay tuned as we jump into this organization's story and mission. But before we do that, I'm going to have to tell Sean, thank you for letting me come on to fill in for you while you out there getting your tan, sipping on your coffee latte down somewhere in Florida with Keith. We've been rocking it out, and I'm excited to hear about what we have going on today. But Keith, how you doing today, brother?
I'm living the dream, and yeah, it's kind of sad. We're wrapping up our time together. Sean, I guess, is going to stop hanging out with Eryck Brew and come back to the show at some point. But no, it's been great working with you, brother, and I'm really excited for this episode. Yeah, this is a very, very, very unique program, and I never would have thought something like this would be out there. And so I'm really excited to hear what's going on. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it, as Eryck used to say, pitter patter, and let's get at her.
There you go.
So Eryck's a Baltimore native, now living in Fairview, West Virginia. Served 23 years in the Navy, retiring as a senior chief petty officer in 2013. After his military career, he turned to the agriculture for holistic healing and became an advocate for veterans, families, and first responders through educational and employment programs. A graduate of Telmore Organic Farm School, Eryck is the founder of Veterans Initiative 22, owner of Maryland Hemp Exchange. That's what I can't wait to talk about that too. And actively supports therapeutic beekeeping through Mission Beelieve under the Prevents Initiative. Hey, Eryck, what's going on? How you doing today?
What a pleasure it is to have me on VET S.O.S. Kingsley and Keith. I've watched quite a few of the episodes and seen the history behind it, and you guys are doing great things, taking care of veterans in their transition, not only for military life, but it's a transition in life altogether. So thanks for allowing me to share what we've got going on at Mission Beelieve.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you so much for coming on and sharing what you're going to share today. So we're really excited to getting into it. But before we do, senior chief, retired, coming out of the Navy. What was that like, coming out as a senior chief in the Navy?
Wow, I tell you, I'll go real quick. I joined the Navy in 1990. I was living in Baltimore, Maryland at the time. Had to bring the recruiter to the bar where mom was working at the Cat's Eye Pub, and that's the lifestyle I lived before the military. And I transitioned into the military pretty smooth and swift. We were in a state of culture where drinking was widely accepted and um, condoned. And so early on, I bit my teeth early, and throughout the career, it nearly bit me near the end. So be cautious out there with what you're doing, folks. Number one, everything should be life in moderation and not excess. So, 23 years of the Navy. Wow. I had a whole family history of military. My grandfather was a Navy veteran. He left Pearl Harbor just a few weeks before it was bombed, believe it or not. My uncle was in the Navy for a little while in the reserves there in Maryland. Dad, mom were both in the Army, the whole family of military, great uncles. So I knew early on that I was destined for a uniform, and the Navy was it. To this day, I still love every moment the Navy has offered, good and bad. We learned through life. So transitioning out, actually, it's interesting you asked that. My transition was probably unique. Both professionally and personally. So there's a professional transition and there's a personal transition. Professionally, I was that 4-row sailor. I was top of the crop, retired as a senior chief in 23 years and lived a wonderful life of military career, and I wouldn't change anything about it. Our services now today are short on manning and manpower. So we're always looking for good people to join all of our services, not just the Navy. On the professional side, I think I had an amazing transition outside into the military to civilian work world. I participated in all the transition assistance programming that the Navy was offering. A lot of amazing classes, anywhere from interview skills, job techniques, resume writing, even bringing in people from the outside looking to hire veterans. So I did TAP, stayed in the military a little bit longer, then did a retirement TAP again to hone in more of those skills. Um, I hope those things are still happening today in the services. I don't know, and if they're not, they really need to be. These are amazing tools to transition our veterans from active duty to the civilian world. On a personal level, my transition wasn't so good. I was in the midst of a divorce, a custody battle for, my child. It went pretty rough. There's a lot of trauma that I've suffered through the military, and even from a personal level, there was trauma in conjunction with it. So, personally, the transition was tough, but here we are today, still moving forward. Like we all need to be moving forward and trying to be the best human that we can be. Um, so I fully recommend if you're in transition, take advantage of all of the resources that are given to you. Don't scoff on them. I know a lot of folks that got out and said, man, I should have, could have, would have. And you know what? You still can, because even after you get out the military, there are still tools and resources available for our newly released active duty folks. So take advantage of them. I don't know the math and numbers. I think it's like 180 days worth of services. So you can still go to like the family service support centers, morale, welfare, recreation, all these great things that, I hope we all took advantage of, can still take advantage of. So transition profession was amazing. I had job opportunities. I'm not bragging, galore. And I think a lot of our military have a lot of great opportunities if they harness them and not squander those times and those opportunities. Um, so after the transition, I realized I had issues. I didn't, I was 23 sailor, Navy, never again volunteer yourself. We love our acronyms, and to this day, I think where I am today is because of what the Navy's taught me. I volunteer. I can't stop. It's kind of a addictive personality, if you will, but it's all in support of veterans living a quality life after the military. The old adage, we got 22 veterans a day committing suicide. I think our numbers are down to about, I don't want to humor this, 17.6. Like, what's a point six? I don't understand that. Maybe one of us lost a limb in combat or something, and like we're divvying up body parts and giving a number to that. But there were times where we even thought 44 were committing suicide a day because we had COVID going on. There were a lot of deaths happening, misrepresenting numbers, and so it's hard to really determine. But that's where I got started, trying to one, save myself at the time. Life was a little difficult. My transition was good, like I said, but after a little while, I was lost and confused. I remember the military as being, full board ahead, policies, regulations, that's what my whole life was that. And so when I got free, I was a little lost and confused. I was given the world. And I think I took advantage of a lot of the good things that it was offering. But my integration was difficult. I could, I couldn't keep a job. I probably still technically can't keep a full job. My transition fast, I'm motivated. I am mission oriented. I think that's where some of this comes in. Mission first. And so when I'm given a task, it's like it's done rapidly because I know the importance of mission success. And so it was hard for me to slow down, calm down, and take it easy. I had a lot of opportunities at the VA with mental health, with treatment, individual therapy, group therapy, the list goes on. And I've learned a lot from all of that. And I think I've taken that to where I am now with some of the efforts I still volunteer with. And so I was confused and lost, and I heard of a program that were doing therapeutic agriculture, which was brand new for me. And this is like I retired April 20th, 2013, so just after I moved back home, brought the family home. That was in an uproar. I was looking for something to help myself, and agriculture was a new path for me. I was doing communications and crypto and security in the military, so a whole new avenue. I saw a link on a class on Facebook, and it said free veteran training for agriculture, and this is in Baltimore City. I'm like, what? Okay, let me check this out. So I went to the class, and like, I fell in love with the idea of what agriculture could be, not only economically, but from a therapeutic standpoint. And that's what the program was for. I connected with 8 months through a then Voc Rehab, now VRE. So if you don't know about those programs, folks out there, look deep at the VA. There's so many amazing things that they do. I hear the horror stories, but I also hear the amazing stories of success. If you just help yourself and sometimes just follow the plan. It's hard for us vets following a plan. Um, and because we make the plan, right? So, I followed the plan, 8 months of organic farming. And I really loved it. At the time, I coined the term "hands in the soil, take away my toil." After training was out, farm was done, I would go out there late at night and release my inner stress. Yeah, I would put my hands in the soil and like hug trees and shit like that, and it works. It is alternative. It is holistic. You don't have to have medicine to go enjoy nature, the environment, and what's really around us, keeping us alive and well. And so I had this framework of, if I plant a seed and watch it grow, this is transformation. Now this is organic. I'm feeding myself, feeding the community, feeding the family. And that's the kind of concepts I started taking on board, but nobody would play with the bees. So they would stay away from them. There were some hives up there that I would say they were derelict hives. They weren't registered, or somebody came in once every 4 or 5 months to check it out. And I'll go more this a little bit about why that's not the right thing to do with honeybees. And so I started weed whacking around it, cutting around it. Every now and then I get a little closer and closer. I could hear them buzzing. They would land on me and fly away. I was scared, of course. Nobody really wants to get stung, which is not true. There are actual therapeutic programs with bee sting. That's a whole different program, not what we do. Um, but so I started learning more about bees. And at the same time, I heard about a group called Mission Beelieve. They were just starting, and it was a therapeutic beekeeping program for active duty, veterans, first responders, and their immediate family. And so when I learned of this, and like I'm telling you, I'm sitting up on the hill with the bees, not knowing anything about them, it resonated really well. So got the buzz going in my mind about, what's this beekeeping all about? And so, through some time in development, um, I engaged with Mission Believe with the amazing team up there. And I guess that's where that transition into Mission Believe is. If you want me to pause it, if you have any questions.
I mean, you're making our job easy, and this show's all about you anyway. So
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's all good, man. I might give Kingsley a second because I know you mentioned hugging a tree. That's Kingsley's thing. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
no, Eric. So when you said hugging the tree, because we did an earlier recording, and I said, one of the things one of my buddies told me when I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and the stress, he's like, "Hey man, have you ever tried just hugging a tree?" I thought he was joking, but when I actually did that, like I felt like negative energy being pulled away from me and like positive energy being put in. So I didn't realize like you hear this phrase, "Oh, don't be a tree hugger," but actually that right there helped me relieve some of the anxiety and stress I had built up inside that I did not want to release on my own.
Yeah. And to top that, the VA and a lot of different programs in their holistic and alternative treatment, they actually go to parks and they do yoga, they do a lot of different amazing sessions. We're even engaged here locally with our beekeeping program, farmers markets, anything, from an agriculture standpoint, and nature really is therapeutic. Yeah, we know the adage tree hugging is, advocacy, yada yada for saving our forests. But the other side of tree hugging is that whole to drop out and tune out and leave all our electronics behind and to be one with nature. Extremely therapeutic. Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. And I loved earlier too. You mentioned I forgot I got the phrase. I just know the rhyme was toil and soil, and I hadn't heard that one before. But I have read your "Hands in the Hive Keep Me Alive," right? So let's dive into that, right? Like, how does beekeeping turn into therapy and therapeutic recovery?
sure, without a doubt. So, living in Baltimore City, Mission Beelieve was outside in a different county. So just to drive alone from, the hustle and bustle of, downtown Baltimore, getting out into the community, into the wilderness a little bit, into the farmland, and ultimately into Mission Beelieve, which is a beautiful, amazing facility out there. Um, and just spending time in the outdoors, learning about beekeeping and education, just was amazing. And the more you go into it, the more you realize beekeeping is not only an economic value, and we can talk about some of that, but the therapeutic value is incredible. Bees actually resonate at the frequency of C. You were talking about tree hugging and like grounding and energies. Yeah, that's what this is all about. So they resonate at the frequency of C, which is the same as a therapeutic blanket, if you will. At the same time, the bees are out there in nature collecting pollen, collecting nectar, bringing it back to the hive for processing in the honey. So I like to look at this as aromatherapy. When you're thinking about flowers and you're thinking about lavender, okay, there's terpene profiles, there's flavonoids, and all these, chemicals in our plants in nature that are designed to protect themselves. Well, they have a synergistic impact on our own body. So lavender has linalool. So when you're smelling lavender candles or you're taking a lavender bath, um, you know, it's releasing linalool, which therapeutically is relaxing and calming. And so you're getting all these profiles into the beeswax that you can actually smell. If you open up the hives, you can smell it. And it's such an amazing smell, and it's really calming and relaxing. And, of course, there's the concern about the bees, but, and so there's like two ideas of what therapy is. The beekeeping community itself is very therapeutic. We are a very small, close-knit group. Here in West Virginia, we've got about 2,000 beekeepers. That's not a lot. So we're all in different counties and we're all in different clubs, if you will. Think about that as a military, right? And so you got the State Beekeeping Association where we all go to. You got the counties with their clubs that we all go to, and we're so close together that we've developed this almost military-like camaraderie. I'm sure you get that in almost any community, right? Probably not just us beekeepers. I'm sure every community finds that same little niche, if you will. And so we've got, these folks out there, we're all veterans. A lot of us mostly are suffering from ailments of, being in the military or traumas of life. And, we're all together, we're communicating, we're all in the same wavelength, right? Frequencies, C. And so, we talk, we communicate, but, so Mission Believe is a 7-week online therapeutic beekeeping program. um, there are a few other beekeeping groups out there in the United States. I would say there's about top 3 of them, and we're one of the top 3 in my opinion. And we support our active duty, our veterans, first responders, because they, as you understand, they go through a lot of trauma in their work as well. And our immediate family, because it's not just us; it's our family who we're all part of this hive, if you will, this collective to keep us well. Um, so, like I said, the 7-week online course, we do monthly hive dives, we have monthly meetings, we have events in person, virtually. We're developing, mentorship programs, honey buyback from our veterans who have hives. They'll take their honey back and process it for them. And, it's all part of our programming. It's just a lot of great things, outreach and education. We founded in Maryland, just about 5 years ago, and, I actually didn't have beehives until this year or late last year. I just brought some to West Virginia from Mission Beelieve. And so it's just an amazing way for us to get together, educate and learn, be part of a close-knit society of helping each other out. There's a lot of great things that are happening. I could go all day about the effort itself. Just last a year and a half ago, we opened up our Therapeutic Bee House, which is a Aja-style bee house. You can actually go in, lay down, open up all the wood doors, and there's a lot of screens. You can get all the smells, and you can hear that buzzing of the bees. No stinging, obviously. You're protected inside from the screens. And so the synergistic impact of all of this happening at one time is just amazing. We have yoga sessions in there. We have meditation moments, in-person classes, community programming. So it's just amazing. Um, so since we're virtual, we're not only virtual, we're in person as well. But since we're virtual, we have a wide range. We've got beekeepers throughout the whole country now engaged in beekeeping through some of our programming. Specifically here, and we're working with the VA through some of their therapeutic programming. We just wrapped up a class with another organization. We've worked here with the West Virginia Department of Agriculture, and it's some of the just amazing things about beekeeping. And wow, I think the whole concept is if we can just stick together, knowing that we have problems and we suffer through trauma, and taking some of these energies, some of these negative energies that we have vested and built up inside of us, and flip them into something more tangible, alternative and holistic concepts are really key. We've got our full treatment programs at the VA facilities, and I hope folks are using those. But there are a lot of things outside the VA, and in fact, that the VA even supports, like Mission Beelieve, and amazing other programs out there. We're not the only one that support our veterans in agriculture. The recommendations obviously are, if you're interested in beekeeping, work with your local beekeepers first. Join a club. You know, in the Navy, or I guess we're the canoe club, right? Join some of these clubs and get engaged. A lot of us suffer from PTSD, TBIs, other traumas that we have, sexual trauma, the list goes on. We go within ourselves. We hide out. We're recluse. We don't engage. And there's this whole cycle of negativity that we live in. And if we could just, you know, pop a gear or something and get out of that rut and do something outside of the norm, that it might get get us back in the swing of things and get us active and engaged. Because we all know veterans, we are super successful. The military has taught us so much and given us so many great opportunities. And now what are we going to do with them when we leave? We need to, make this country and make this world a better place. And, some of those that are suffering, like myself, need to find some of these solutions other than, the standard 9 to 5, the nonprofit world, as you guys know, these are some amazing opportunities out there. And, a lot of them are developed to support veterans specifically, like Mission Believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I think that's what we're kinda at. We got a lot of things going on. Our next class actually is January the 20th. I'll send you guys a link if you would love if you could share it out. Everything is free. There's no charge for anything. That's what true volunteerism is about. Um, yeah, there's money to be made in the nonprofit world. Hell, the NFL is a nonprofit, so yes, money is to be made, but there are programs out there that's not what we're about. Yes, we all need money to operate, keep the doors open. But what we do, and personally, what I do is find organizations that support veterans at no cost or at very little cost. Maybe we can find avenues to do funding. Um, Hell, you can just go to your local state nonprofit organization and get a list of all your veteran nonprofits and decide what might be best for you. beekeeping is the best for me right now.
No, and that's absolutely incredible. Again, something you don't typically think of, but I mean, you've already shared so much about just what it can do and the physiological impacts of working with the bees. I mean, I grew up allergic to bees until I was a teenager, got stung 27 times, and that seemed to cure me of my allergy. So I don't have the reactions anymore when I get stung. But it's interesting because I would almost say there's almost an aspect of facing fear when you're doing that because I'm sure yeah, I would get antsy, working with bees, even if I am in a protective suit. There's certainly a little bit of a fear, I would think there. So,
Oh yeah.
and we're almost at time,
Oh wow.
but I just want to kind of you mentioned the economical aspect of it as well. So, I would think, like you're making honey and things of that nature. So, healing and vocational opportunity, essentially. So what does that middle ground look like? Are people turning this into income typically, or is it I know it's about finding purpose, but speak to that
Sure.
economical piece a little bit
Yeah,
too.
without doubt. So, yeah, we're a beginner beekeeping course, and there are intermediate courses. There's advanced master's programs. People make a livelihood, not just a hobby out of this. Me, for me, it's a hobby. I only have a couple hives. I don't want to expand, but that's not up to me. That's up to the bees. They want to swarm. That's honestly, that's a good thing. That means we're doing really well. But yeah. So I put honey in everything. I'm buying honey everywhere I go. Even with my hives, I'm purchasing honey, and it could be up to like, $6 to $10. You know, for 16 ounces. A pound of honey could be up to $10 somewhere. So there's a profound impact. The more hives you get, the more money you can make if that's what you want to do. Professionally, they've got beekeepers that travel the whole United States. They'll take their bees from the East Coast, send them to the West Coast for the farms and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, substantial amounts of money that can be made. There's a lot of work that goes into it. It's not easy. Um, but I have to say, when you hear the word save the bees, we're talking about pollinator bees. All bees are pollinators, but we're talking about native bees to the United States. Honeybees are not from America. So that's why we have to take care of them. Yes, they can survive on their own if they swarm and go like in a tree hollow somewhere, but it's really up to us as the caregivers. And that's where my part of my mind, the therapeutic side comes in. I've got 50,000 bees that I'm responsible for. I have to be in tune with them. I have to take care of them, right? And so it's important to, um, be intelligent, educated about it. And it's that feeling, like I was going back to, hands in the soil, take away my tool. And you said, my other phrase there, hands in the hive help me stay alive. They need me just like I need them, um, or they won't survive, right? And imagine the importance of keeping 50,000 bees alive. Um, and so there's a responsibility there that shouldn't be taken lightly. And part of the therapy side is culturally in the United States, or agriculturally, not culturally, agriculturally, we're losing about 40% of our hives a year due to pest management issues. So there's a lot of hive loss. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I just lost 50,000 bees. That's all part of this education. That's all part of this process of learning, education, and awareness, responsibility, and what we can do, and some things are outside of our hand, just like everyday life. So there's that therapeutic aspect of it as well.
Yeah,
Gives
wow.
us
This
purpose,
is
gives
this
us
is powerful
meaning.
stuff. Yeah. So we're coming up on time, and King's been sitting over there quiet as all get out. So what you thinking, man? Before we wrap this up, what you got?
So you know how my brain is really, it takes a long time to gear up. So I'm asking questions, but Eryck was answering everything I was asking in my head. I was like, man, I can't wait till I ask this question. So, and you said it just now, it's like being responsible for the pollination. Because I started to do research on bees. I was like, man, how important are bees? They said if the bee population goes soon after our population goes, right? So it's a huge thing, especially as a veteran, as you know, one, you signed, you say you have your whole family's been military, so you signed up on the dotted line, like I'm gonna protect and serve, you know, until now you're taking on a different protect and serve, because this is actually the human race. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is huge. This is huge, and I did not realize how important it was to be a part of the bee community. Like I said, when you start, I go down, I go down a lot of rabbit holes. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize if you're sick, guess what? Like you said, you put honey in everything. I didn't know that you go to the local farmer's market and you get the honey there and it will boost up your immune system for that area because they pollinate from the. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then honey never expires. So I'm thinking like all this stuff that the education is not there, but once you start looking for it, especially your organization is like, hey, this is why beekeeping is so important. I didn't think I could be a beekeeper. I didn't even know that. Like, yeah, you can. This is, well, you know, I don't know. Do y'all offer like a starter kit or something like that? Like how if I want to be thinking like, oh, here's your starter kit. You know, we're gonna give you, I don't know, a queen bee, and then the hive is gonna come with it. Like, how is that process?
Sure. So right now we're, like I said, a 7-week online virtual course. You'll just sign up for the class. It's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. Um, and we'll give you all the education, training. The tools themselves would come with your interest level, of course. We got a lot of people that sign up and they go through the training, and then you realize, oh, maybe I don't want to be a beekeeper, but at least they got the tools, education, experience. Um, Beekeeping equipment can be, for some people, it's a relative statement. Beekeeping can be affordable or not so affordable. A whole hive setup may cost you about $350, $400. Um, you know, equipment and tools and all that would be included. You know, your veil, mask, suit, hive tools, smoker, some of the basic standard tools. There's a listing. So you're looking at getting into an industry, if you're coming completely out of pocket, about, I would say about $500 to $800. You don't have to buy all the fancy, crazy gadgets and gadgets, because guess what? You join your bee club, all that's for free, because a lot of these clubs have other stuff that you can use and swap and exchange and share. So, you know, a lot of beekeepers, some of the old timers are like, okay, I'm not beekeeping anymore. I got some hives I want to give away. And so, you know, there's a lot of these things that can happen. Here in West Virginia and a lot of states work with your Department of Agriculture. A lot of them, like West Virginia has West Virginia Department of Agriculture, Veterans and Heroes to Agriculture program, which they'll pay for all your classes and education and equipment and, you know, things like that for you. So the state of Virginia has a program. You can sign up for free beehives, get 2 free beehives registered, you know, so it really depends on the state you're at and what level you want to take beekeeping. Always recommended to start with 2 hives, not 1, because 2 will allow you to balance each, you know, colony's health and wellness against each other a little bit. Um, yeah, I think it kind of, the intro will really give you that whole head start on like what it all would really incorporate into becoming an official beekeeper. Um, you talk about rabbit holes. Right now, we're officially, there's 5 of us writing a law here in West Virginia to protect our beekeepers. And we're working with, you know, state legislation. So, you know, how far do you want to go in beekeeping? You just want to be a low-level beekeeper at home, or you want to take this and advocate and, you know, fight for pollinators and you know, there's a lot of great things out there, a lot of clubs and organizations for repollination. Um, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is awesome. And yeah, no, I think I'm intrigued as all get out. This is an amazing program, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. But before we go too, we do have to wrap this up, unfortunately. How can people get in touch with you? How can they get in touch with the organization to either join and or support the organization?
Sure. Well, we all will love the sponsorships and programming, but to join Mission Believe, just go to Mission Believe, BEE, believe.com. And you'll see our website there. We're on Facebook at Mission Believe. You know, all the social medias were there. Directly to me, it's Eryck, ERYCK, at missionbeelieve.com. And my phone's always on, 410-660-3198. And it doesn't have to be beekeeping. If you're a veteran and you need some advice, some words of wisdom, or some guidance, that's what we're here for.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that information. And Eryck, thank you so much for coming on the show and educating everybody, to include me and Kings. This has been really, really insightful. So yeah, so happy you're out there. Thank you everything you're doing for the for the community, and even the program. So on behalf of the entire VET S.O.S family, I want to thank everyone for spending their time with us today. It's always great having you along for the ride. Don't forget to check out all of our other episodes and keep coming back for more stories, insights, and support from the VET S.O.S crew. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow, share the show, and tell a friend or two. Toss your battle buddies, fire team, shipmates, and wingmen that flotation device they need in transition, so no one drowns in the sea of transition. And as always, grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline.